Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Montekristo podcast. Today, I'm here with Mr. Sammy James, the owner and the founder of Leverly. We came here today to touch a little bit about his history, his company, and then how are they kind of navigating the markets today, and then just have a casual conversation. So it's a pleasure to have you, sir, and thank you for being here.
Yeah, thanks for inviting me, Alex. Always happy to share whatever I can with anybody that that maybe is trying to do something similar, and happy to it's just it's always great to learn from other people's mistakes, right? So you don't have to make them, right? And of course I have a lot of long history, and so that means a lot of mistakes, a
Yeah.
lot of learning because there's really, at the end of the day, no substitute for experience, right? I mean, but I guess if there were one, it would have to be learning from other people's experience, and so you don't have to go through it yourself.
Yeah, amazing. So you basically kind of just open up our first subject, which is going to be your history, and then, how did you come up with that amount of experience and that amount of knowledge so you can kind of make the decisions you're making now?
Well, it's just my gosh, you just follow your passion, you follow your what gets you excited, do what gets you excited. My career started out in radio. My dad was a disc jockey. I guess that inspired me to become a disc jockey too, for some reason. Um, and your dad is usually your hero, hopefully. Um, and plus, I don't know, I was an actor when I was in high school, and the time I spent in college, and so I liked acting and voice acting, and being a personality was basic. It's just basically acting.
Yeah.
Um, so that was my back when I was very young. That was my interest, of course, and girls, right? So, um, some people learn to play guitar, other people become a disc jockey. Whatever it is,
Yeah.
whatever it takes to get it to get to get more opportunities to date more girls. But anyway, that's your priority at that age. But over time, I got bored, and then I went on into advertising and learned the agency side, and then I went the client side, and then I got back into radio doing other things, sales, programming, promotion, other aspects of the business. And then eventually that kind of led to consulting and developing technology, because one of the threads that I've always had through my career is technology. The first client I ever had at an agency was selling value-added computers, systems. Anyway, and so that exposed me early to technology, and I'm always fascinated to what's next. What's next? I kind of think
Mhm.
about. I get bored easily and look at well, I want to see what's going on next, and so that technology combined with media, advertising, marketing, that's sort of been my thread, and so I had an opportunity to do some innovative things back when databases were a new deal, and doing something they used to call database marketing. And that goes way back, but I was one of the pioneers in that, working with KABC in Los Angeles to create the first loyalty program for radio. And then using that database of avid listeners to generate new revenue streams, because radio is very limited. They could sell spots, and once they've sold out of spots, then they can only get so much. That what
Yeah.
else they have left to sell, right? So I created that, and then along path that went through the first .com era in San Francisco. I lived there 20 years, had the opportunity to work with a lot of VC backed companies, and I was typically the first hire, after the founders, of
Yeah,
the
obviously,
founders
yeah.
created, and then they wanted to hire someone. I was the hire because they felt I could monetize their idea. And what I didn't realize at the time, I thought it was a sales thing and a job, but really what it was is it was productizing. It was taking things that were abstract or technology people didn't understand, and packaging in a way that people, there was value and that people could
Okay.
get that value. So, I mean, from the first internet radio station selling spots for Chris Anderson and Imagine Media when he was there before he
Mhm.
sold that, to the first internet radio state, internet song recognition application, which was predates smartphones. So we were able to enable people to dial an 800 number, punch in the frequency of the station they're listening to, and we could tell them what song was playing on the radio. So it sounds like cave painting compared to today, but at the time that was the technology,
Revolutional, yeah.
cutting edge. But
Yeah.
it's all the same thing anyway. It doesn't matter what the tools change, obviously, but what doesn't change is being creative,
Mhm.
and figuring out where the value is and how to solve real problems. So that taught me a lot, and I think that is what led to me thinking of the idea when I ended up back running an agency again. I my com- this now internet leads, Google had just kind of started like 4 or 5 years earlier. And so internet leads or inbound leads from forums was a new thing, relatively speaking. And sales teams just kind of weren't prepared for that type of inbound. And frankly, they sort of resisted it. And so my clients were complaining to me that their sales teams were not following up on these new internet forum leads. And for me, coming from old school sales where I didn't have a lead, there was no such thing as an inbound lead. I was just blown away by that. It just killed me to see that. And it's just like, wow, they're throwing away. And think about the effort that people put into filling out a form. That takes calories,
It
and to
does.
research and find the company, find the website, find the landing page. I mean, how could you toss that aside? That's crazy because, you know, direct response, where someone calls you because they see or hear your ad, that's not a big emotional commitment. In fact, the
Yes.
reason why direct response works so well in the middle of the night is because your guard is down. You're tired and your impulses will kind of run you at that
Yeah.
time of the morning. If you get hungry, you're going to eat the ice cream at 3 in the morning. And
Yeah.
so you're also going to dial that 800 number for that whatever widget that you're never going to use at 3 in the morning. So direct response to me is impulse buying, and whereas a form is more thoughtful.
Mhm.
So, and I think it's still true, and so I thought, well, wait a minute. I did all this crazy stuff with telephony, with building databases and with radio stations and doing song recognition. Why can't we take a form and convert that into a phone call? And then we could take that call, dial the sales rep, not the lead, but the sales rep, and say, hey, guess what? You have a lead. And here's their name. Here's what they want. Press one, and it'll dial the lead for you. Because I know salespeople. I mean, I, I, they're not all like me, but I'm lazy. I don't like details. I don't like all the minutia. I don't like all that crap, all the admin stuff. I don't like that. I like the talking part.
Okay.
So I mean that's where I have fun at. So, and I think a lot of salespeople feel the same way. They
Yeah.
didn't take it and people don't get hired because of their admin skills. Like, okay,
Yeah.
let me see how organized you are. I'm sorry, that's just not what people care about when they're hiring a salesperson. So anyway, all of this appealed to me as a salesperson. That's kind of why I thought it might work. And and so it was just an experiment. So I spent the money to hire someone to create this uh, sort of MVP and tested it with a couple clients that trusted me. And guess what? I mean, overnight they were getting a 300% increase in conversions. And so why is that? Well, there's no magic to it. What it really is this. If if you took more at bats or more shots on goal or whatever, pick a metaphor, you're
Yeah.
going to score more points, right? And so
Yes.
no matter how bad you are, it doesn't matter. You don't have to be Wayne Gretzky. You could be the
Yeah.
worst player on the team and score more if you have more shots. So your percentages are still low, but you're still going to add more score. Okay.
Yeah.
So this is sales, right? So it doesn't matter how good or bad you are. If you speak to more leads, if you have more conversations, you're going to have more sales because in my mind, the definition of sales is a conversation.
Okay. Yeah.
Now I'm talking about sales that requires a conversation in the first place. I'm not talking about selling, shoes online.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's how it all came together. Like, you know, when you asked me about my history and how it led to this. And that's how everything leads to one thing always leads to another.
Another.
And you know, great brilliant ideas come to prepared minds. Prepared minds come from experiences.
Wow, that's really thoughtful. Yeah, that's true. And then when did you found Leverly?
In 2010, you know, when I saw this work so well for a couple of years, I wasn't planning on starting a SaaS company. And so I was just like, this has to be a company because this is so incredible. And what was kind of weird was nobody else was doing it. And I thought,
Mhm.
I'm not a genius. I'm very, you know, average. Okay. So something's wrong here. Either I'm an idiot and everyone's looking at me like, why are you even doing this? Or maybe there, you know, and I just couldn't resist it because it worked. Because, you know, I follow the truth. And for me, philosophically, the truth equals what works.
Yes.
I mean, that's in life, period. Okay.
Yes.
So, you know, the way I talk to my wife, this works, that doesn't, right? So,
This is the truth. Yeah.
right. So, doesn't matter what I think, it matters what works. So, as long as it's, of course, ethical and all that stuff, you know, I do have a
Yeah.
moral compass. But anyway, so it works so well. I was like, I cannot ignore that. And so I thought, okay, if nobody else is doing it, I'm going to. So I decided to start a company. It was originally called Speed to Lead because speed was obviously the biggest driver of conversion.
Mhm.
When you call a form lead in less than 60 seconds. Now we have all the statistics to back this up then. The common sense, you know, kind of informed me that that's a good thing. You know, it's just like any service, a hotel or wherever. If you go to the front, if somebody's wait is right there for you, you like that as opposed to waiting. You know, you don't like.
Yes.
So anyway, and also business about attention span. It's really not. I don't believe in the attention span thing. I'm sure it is shorter, but I don't think it really matters. I think what matters is that people have too many things competing for their attention. So
Yes.
it's like, hey, I'm on this. I've got a problem. I want to solve it. I think this company may be able to do it. I'm going to reach out to them. And then if I don't hear back from them for a while, I've already moved on, you know, onto other things. I've got so many things to do that's why I kind of forget, you know, about this company. And so the first company to call me, if I've inquired and there's, you know, whether it would be like you know, an Angie's List or something where they sell 7, you know, different companies the same lead, or whether it is me searching for multiple, you know, options. Whoever talks to me first has the advantage. You
Yes.
know, it's the majority. They will get the business. If someone buys, they're going to buy the majority of the time to the first company they speak to. So it's a real first mover advantage. But also the advantage is showing up while the problem is at its peak, because it took it
Okay.
that problem had to really become pretty severe to get a person to go to the effort to search for a solution,
Yes.
right? So if you meet them there at that peak point of pain, that's a good thing because they're going to feel relief and you're going to be one to relieve them of that pain. You're the hero.
Yeah.
Just all based, isn't this just common sense stuff, right? So really the technology is just a means to the end, which is what if we could do this? What if we could wave a magic wand and do that and do this? You know, then you go look for the technology to make it happen.
Yeah.
Whereas I see a lot of companies today, they say, "Wow, cool technology. Let's go find a market for it."
Yeah.
You know, and I believe now it's easy for me to say this now in hindsight because when I was doing it, I had no clue, of course. So this is all me sounding very smug, but believe me, I was clueless. So, but what I can now say is that you need to fall not in love with the solution, you need to fall in love with the problem, because when
Mhm.
you are just passionate about solving the problem, the solutions will come. Right? And who cares what the solution is? I mean, I tell people all the time, if skywriting worked, I'd be selling that, you know?
Yeah.
But it doesn't. It doesn't. I mean, it works for not for lead conversion. And my whole
Yeah.
thing is just about inbound inbound leads, and so anyway, that's where I focus. That's that's what I, um, and most businesses, rely at least 50% on inbound leads. Some do all outbound, I
Yes,
suppose, but most businesses, and I'm not talking SaaS. SaaS is a tiny part of the big world. Okay, it's a very
it is.
small, and so everyone kind of sells to each other and
Yeah,
and
kind of.
compares themselves to. That's just like this whole SaaS thing, sassafras. It's like I've been sucked into it too. Like, wait a minute, wait a minute, hold on a second. What do I care about these people? They're not the world. The TAM, okay, is outside of SaaS, and the SAM and the SOM, are outside of SaaS. SaaS is a small portion of it. So unless you have I mean, not, I'm sure there's some companies that just only SaaS and that's all they do,
It
and
is, yeah.
it's all good. But anyway, for me, it holds true. So yeah, and so I've just spent my focus, and my energy focused on inbound, and then the evolution of it is where we are today, which is really very. I'm glad I made it this far. So we started a speed to lead, got a cease and desist because somebody said that they trademarked or copyrighted that in an article they wrote, some academic guy or something. I'm like, okay, whatever. So I thought, I didn't want to change the logo. So what starts with an S, has the same letters, so just brainstorms, and it came up with speak to leads,
Yeah,
you know, it's because it's similar to speed to leads. And so I
pretty
didn't have to change
similar,
the
yeah.
logo. So just a couple of letters and I was in business again. And so, but I also thought, wait a minute, this is better because speed is only one component of it, because the other thing is what we did is we built in automated persistence. Because if you call a lead and they don't answer, which is probably true 50% of the time on average,
Yeah, maybe even
you
more.
need to keep calling. But that calling those intervals have to be timed perfectly based on
Yeah,
what? On what the scientific data tells us, right? That what is the evidence that we should use to determine when to call the second time, the third time, the
should
fourth
be done,
time,
yeah.
and so on. So we built that into the application. Now, this is all pre-AI, right?
Yeah,
This is just a regular old application, PHP and all that sort of stuff. So, um, anyway, sorry, my headset fell off. So that
no worries.
the um by doing that, we also just made it really easy for the sales team. And I think one of the other things is it's kind of like first principle thinking, which is, why are leads assigned? Do you know why? What's your answer to that? Why are
Why
leads
are
assigned?
leads assigned?
Yeah, to a sales. On all inbound leads get assigned to a salesperson, don't they?
Obviously, yeah.
And why is that?
Well, in order to have a conversation with them so they kind of, I don't know, understand a little bit more about the business and what the
No,
service they
but
might be
why
getting.
do you assign a lead to a specific salesperson?
Maybe you feel like his or her personality might match the customer.
Come on, no one does that. They don't know what the personality. No, okay, that sounds good, but I can only think of one reason, and that is because somebody has to take ownership of getting in touch with the lead. So if it's not assigned, it's sort of like, hey, I thought you were going to call him. No, I thought you were. So that's not going to work. So
Okay.
you're taking ownership of having that conversation, and then once you have it, sure, you own the lead, to try to convert it, blah blah blah. So I thought, wait a minute, that's really stupid because that creates a bottleneck, and I could see why you'd have to do it. Without technology, you have no choice. You have to assign the lead, and so I thought, well, wait a minute, they don't have to do that anymore because we'll
Okay.
call into the sales team, and if we'll do round robin, let's say, and if you're up and you're not available because you're on the phone or you're out for coffee or whatever,
Yeah, somebody
boom,
else
we're
will
going to
be.
skip it to the next person or the next person. So really, the business owns the lead, not the salesperson.
Oh,
And
okay.
so if that's true, which it is always, then why don't we just say let's just collectively use all the resources we have in the room, and whoever's available, grab it. And whether that be the first call, the second, the third, the fourth, the fifth. So just doing that, it obviously expanded the resources, removed the bottleneck, and made life easy
Okay.
for the sales team, because if they didn't talk to the lead, just hang up. They don't have to create a task like, oh, left a voicemail, create a note, I call back again, create another task. All that shit's all automatic. And they don't own it. They don't own it until they speak to it. Then they assign it to themselves. So
Okay.
that to me was the biggest breakthrough of all. Because now what it meant was you just expanded your resources without having to hire anybody new. But we
Yeah.
tracked all that. We still tracked what was your, I look at it as effort and results. The effort being calling the lead, calling the lead, calling the lead. Um, and then what are the results? What's the connection rate? What's the conversion rate? And all that. So we measure all that. And then I built a calculator called the attainable revenue calculator inside the application, which would say, well, here's how many leads you had in this date range. Here's the effort you made. You called 70% of them. Your connection rate was 50% or whatever it was.
Yeah, whatever. Just
So your conversion rate's this, your average revenue is this. So this is your lane. This is your world. But over here in this one, it's called attainable. And I'm only going to change one variable, which is you're going to call 100% of your leads and all conversion rate, connection rates, all the same. But guess what happens to the revenue? It's huge. Bang.
skyrockets. Yeah.
Right. Skyrocket. So that's how much you're leaving on the table by not having the resources to make a 100% of those calls,
Yeah.
whether it be first attempt or sixth. And so that drove me nuts. Like, and so some of our clients just hired more people, but not everybody was positioned to do that. So then along
Yeah.
comes AI, and I'm like, oh, this is great. So about 5 years ago, I started licking my chops, like this is going to be amazing. And so I finally got good enough, you know, I think about a year ago. And then so I've just been working with it for about a year. And finally now we're taking on clients and we have a waiting list now actually, but we're taking on clients to add a AI phone assistant, which is what I call, it's really voice AI is, it's the
Yeah.
industry thing, but it's AI phone assistant because I want to be specific. This is not an agent that does chat, right?
Yeah.
Um, and so now in our platform, because we have this whole inbound lead response platform, you can assign that person as a rep, that AI agent as
Okay.
a rep, and for whatever purpose you want. Oh, just back up the team. If nobody on the team answers, they answer. They're the backup. Or if we're not here, if it's after hours, they can call because
Yeah.
TCPA compliant. You can call a form lead till 9 o'clock in most states. Some are 8, that kind of stuff. Or weekends, you call the leads. Or wait a minute, well now that we have this capability, how about they also answer inbound calls that you don't answer 24/7? Okay, that's another 30% of calls we're missing on average,
Yes.
and we never because 85% of the people who call and get voicemail or get an IVR then hang up never call back. So you're missing a ton of business that you worked hard for and you spent money to get. So now we've got it all sealed up. There are no more leaks in the inbound lead bucket, whether it be coming in by phone or by form. And that's to me is just I love it. I'm just because that I love the optimization and the perfection of that. Now it's
Understood.
just like, how can we get this AI assistant? How can we reduce the hangups, right? Because people, this is something I just recently discovered yesterday. It's like, we're conditioned to not like automation, not like voice
Yes.
automation. We all hate it. IVR suck. We all hate it. So when we call and we hear something we think is automated, our first reaction is this sucks and we hang up.
Yes.
Because we don't know how good of experience it actually is going to be speaking to an AI, a well-trained AI phone, assistant. Because they're amazing. They're better than real people a lot of the time. And if it's trained properly. So what we have to overcome now is the automatic reflexive response to voice automation, which is got a very negative connotation built in. We're born into it. We already hate it. So
Yeah.
start from already hating it without even knowing how good of an experience it's going to be. So when I'm doing prompting now, I'm spending a lot of energy on how do I get people to stay with me just for a few seconds before they hang up? Because once they do, they're going to be like, oh, what a relief. This is actually pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah. That makes
Interesting,
sense.
right?
Pretty interesting. And then the way you kind of present it is it sounds pretty, easy to understand, pretty common sense, pretty, it's not so spectacular, even though it produces spectacular results, if that makes sense.
Exactly. No, I mean, the AI, frankly, is not magic. It's a pain in the ass. I mean, doing these prompts, it's horrible. It doesn't listen to you. It wanders
It
around.
doesn't, yeah.
It's like it just wanders aimlessly to where whatever it wants to do. It has phantom memory. It picks up things that if you're
Here and
working
there,
with
yeah.
a framework that where you've got archives of other prompts, it'll grab something out of that prompt. So you have to, I mean, oh my God. It's just so the technology behind it. And then you got to build functions, excuse me. If you want to make sure that um the, that it works, you have to build a function because if you let it think for itself, it might screw up, right? So you build a
Yeah,
function
most
that
of the
does,
time, yeah.
but it's getting better. I mean, with even GPT
Yes,
4.1, thank God, it's a leap forward. So it's going to be more reliable. And eventually, and then of course the latency. Humans, our latency is like, what is it? Somewhere between 300 and 500 milliseconds. And when we speak, feels natural.
pretty natural,
Well,
yeah.
we need to get now, right now, it's about 800 milliseconds from, maybe 500 to 800 if you're really lucky. So we're getting there really close in terms of latency and that. So because that keeps the conversation feeling, you just where it makes you forget that you're talking to, because that's what you want. You want to achieve that. I forgot I was even
Natural
talking to you.
state, yeah.
Yeah. And not that we're trying to fool anybody. It's like, it's okay. I'm a virtual assistant, but I want you to forget that as soon as possible because you're getting everything you need. And
Even
I'm right
more,
there with
maybe.
you. I'm in there right there with you. And I'm not making you wait
Yeah,
or making you go, oh my God, this is horrible.
yeah. Got it.
Anyway,
And then,
it's yeah. So I'm just now I feel like I'm starting up again. It's an add-on to the platform. You don't have to have it. And we're obviously the forms will go to humans first if you want, and then go to AI second or whatever. And just like your phone calls, you could create conditional call forwarding. It goes to humans if they're not available. It can go. You can control all that, and I think people should control all that and do what's best for them, and then measure everything and see what the conversion rates are, and the performance, and have all that intelligence behind it, and use the data, and then use obviously even the conversations. Like there's more to be extracted. So if we had thousands of phone calls, and then we could say, what are the pain points people talk about the most, and what words do they use to describe those pain points? Why don't we use that in our marketing, right? And so then we're like, oh, that makes sense, yeah. Or where do people get frustrated, or where so and what's a successful call look like? Whether it be a human call or an AI, what does a call that ends up in an actual sale? What does that sound like? And this is kind of like what Gong does, a little bit. So,
yeah.
but that's smart, right? To do that and to learn from the data, and so that you can just keep improving, 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 um,
Yep.
and get better results, better results, better results. So it's a never ending thing,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah. Got it. And then, you said you founded your company in 2010, and then how important was for you to kind of select the right people to hire? And then what are some things that you've noticed that kind of
Okay.
separates the people that you wanna
Yeah.
work with, and then you want to have them work for you from
Yeah.
others?
Yeah. Okay. That's a good question because it's so important. Um, it's the people, right, that make the difference. I mean, look at any
Yes.
sports team. What the sports teams that win, they have good coaches. Like, okay, so I'd be the coach, right? In that case.
Yeah.
But the coach isn't winning the games. It's the stars. You got to hire stars. You got to hire stars. I mean, they're the ones who are going to win for you. So hire great people. That sounds simple, but it's important. So,
Yeah.
you know, that's number one. Number two, obviously their values. Hire for values. Don't hire for skills. Skills are, can be taught, but values can't. Um, and so hire for that. What else? um, I learned early on the people, for me specifically, I don't know if this is true for other companies, but for me specifically, they all had a science background, like a
Okay.
pre-med in school. So I think what that they weren't, like they didn't go to med school, but they all took biology or pre-med stuff. So this was a coincidence. I noticed this commonality, and I
Yeah, it
think
was
it's
pretty
what
interesting.
that made them is curious and problem solvers, and they wanted to
Okay.
find the solution. Like, what's causing this? What's the cause and effect? Science, right? So science, again, comes back to being pragmatic, and so they're very good at figuring things out. Okay, so
Yeah.
critical thinking. So that's the one thing I noticed. Like, oh boy, I got to always hire like those kind of folks. Then
Yeah.
the other thing I learned, the hard way, is that when you have great people and eventually they leave, like, they do, especially if I hire young people, they want to see the grass is greener on the other side. They've been here 4 or 5 years. Let's go somewhere else and see what it's like because it's their first job, so, or whatever. Um, well, when they walk out the door, all their knowledge walks out the door. And so what I learned is make sure that part of your standard operating procedure is that they are somehow downloading their knowledge every week.
Okay.
If they learn something new, like, oh, I figured out a new way to do this, or hey, here's a new problem and here's a new solution. It needs to get in the knowledge base. I mean, there's an internal knowledge base, there's an external knowledge base,
Okay.
and it needs to get there. Now with AI, thank God. I mean, there's applications like I think Twin Mind. They could just put their phone in their pocket and it will record everything they say all day, and then they can download the summary and put it in the knowledge base. So there's no work involved anymore. I mean, there's ways of doing that. You don't have to sit there and transcribe your thoughts anymore.
Yeah.
But it's so important. However you do, I don't care. But extract it, because when they walk out the door, you want everything they learned while they were with you, and
Yes.
so that helps retrain. Here's the knowledge base, so everyone learns faster. And if it's for the clients, if it's client-facing knowledge base, then the new clients get the benefit of that knowledge that's in that knowledge base. So that's huge. Don't make that mistake. I made that mistake. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Got it.
Um, yeah. And also I
And
would say the other thing is case studies are part of the product. You have to consider that you don't have a
oh,
product
okay.
without case studies. So when you deploy a product, you get a client at the right moment in time when they're most excited and they really feel good about it and they really ask for the case study. Get the case study, make it part of the process. Because if the more case studies you have, the easier it will be for you to get new clients.
It is.
They work.
It works like
Don't
an
think,
avalanche, I feel like.
yeah, it helps. Don't skip that. Don't skip that. It's like, because it's a pain in the ass, to have to do it, but you have to make it part of your process.
Okay. Got it. And then what has been the biggest challenge for you so far? And then maybe it is still now, or maybe a new challenge kind of arose. But what do you feel like has been the biggest, thing that
Well,
has
being
been kind of
bootstrapped, I would
bothering
say
you?
being bootstrapped is the biggest challenge. It was fine because I built up my business pretty well, and before COVID, and when after COVID, I had a lot of gyms. I mean, I even had Alex Hermosi when he was running gyms at one time.
Mhm.
Um, he's a smart guy even back then, man. He could tell this is the stuff he was asking for. He was a great thinker. Um, but yeah, a lot of gyms and a lot of things, businesses that were in-person businesses, and so I lost about 30% of my revenue when COVID hit, and I lost a couple of big clients, and my retention's 10 years. It's crazy.
Yeah,
I'm kind of boasting right now, but I deserve to be, because that's not easy to do.
obviously. But those are facts.
An average retention of 7 years. So anyway, um, that the cash flow it's so hard when you don't have cash and when you don't have enough money to build product, and because your product's never finished, right? And have enough resources to have enough people. It's a real strain, and that's been probably the hardest part of being an entrepreneur for me. And I've never raised, I mean, I have a little bit of angel money, but I've never really gone out to do any kind of serious raise. I did it one time in the beginning and I paid them back. Um, because it didn't work out for me. But I think that's the hardest thing. So I would just say make sure that you have enough runway and that sales is the priority, because forget about the product, just sell. Sales is number one because sales takes care of everything else. And
Yeah.
and if it's not your thing, find somebody that it is their thing, and and um and make it happen. And there's no magic. There is no magic. I have never generated a lead doing all of the thousand things I've tried to do
Okay.
for inbound. Ironically, for inbound marketing, I suck at it. I really do. I'm the worst. It's ironic, isn't it? And the only leads I've ever gotten inbound were when I started the same time Unbounce did, and I was their first one of the first two or three native integrations inside their app. We used to get a lot of leads from that. Because those guys are optimizers, any landing page conversion, app is for optimizers, people who measure, and people who measure, they like what we do because they want to increase, they want to optimize, they want to squeeze more juice, right? And that's what
Understood.
our app does. So I would say, that don't think that cold email or LinkedIn outreach and all that stuff is going to get it done for you. It's not wrong,
It's
or
gonna
social
help you. Yeah.
media. It's nice and it's fine, but don't depend on that. Don't just cold calling. I would pick that number one. If you didn't have a network, if you want to hire somebody with a network that knows people in a certain vertical that matches, that's ideal because you're going to get the relationship is what gets people to trust you to try you because you need that. And then once you're willing to, people are willing to try you because they trust you because that you already have a business relationship with them. So if somebody else, hey, knows the person you hire, because whatever, and they trust them, then
Yeah.
they should go after those warm leads or warm network. And I'm doing that now. My
Okay.
new VP of Biz Dev, he has a warm network, and that's how I'm making sales. I'm not getting it done online. I'm still trying. I'm still trying.
Understood.
I'm excited about AI. I'm excited about what it can do in terms of inbound, and I'm experimenting. I'm not going to give up, but my expectations are now zero.
Okay.
So if you get me one lead, I'm going to be like, you're a genius.
Okay. You're talking about outbound campaigns using AI?
Uh-huh. Yeah. Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Whatever that looks like. Um,
Yeah. And then
I think it's really going to, everyone's doing a lot of experimenting right now, and it's getting better and better. But I mean, some of it's so transparent, so obvious, so bad, you know, and you can just see it like on LinkedIn, the messages I get, kind of the trends, I could just
keep on
follow the
appearing and
trend.
just
And they just keep copying each other, copying each other. Now it's like the AI is like, oh, I see that you really do a remarkable job to help people with their inbound lead response. That's fantastic. I mean, that's how everyone starts, right? Well, that was the AI who did that for them. And it's like, oh
yeah.
my God, no, this is so bad.
Got it. And then how important was for you, kind of what do you feel about at least, to kind of build a, recognizable brand and then build something that people recognize as trustworthy and then
Forget that.
them come back. You think
Forget
that's now?
No, that's I'm sorry. Just forget it. No one cares about your brand. You're not
Okay.
gonna you want to spend $50 million a year might get you there. Or if you hired someone for millions of dollars, an influencer, that might help for a while. But so listen, this is the other thing I think is true. There's a guy named Daniel Priestley is the guy. He's the godfather of this. He's the guy I would follow as far as build your personal brand because more people follow Richard Branson than Virgin, or more people follow even Tim Cook, who's not a flamboyant guy, or whatever, but he doesn't have the charisma of a Steve Jobs. More people follow him than Apple. More people follow, it just goes down the list. Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk,
Understood.
on and on. So the brand, what people care about is the voice behind the brand, the personality behind the brand, and that's what builds trust. You got to be likable. They have to trust you, like you, and in order to have that, for you to get that credibility, and they have to know you. So how do you? So yes, you need to get known, and to get known, not your brand. No one cares about it. Okay, so wasting your time. Don't worry about the logo or whatever. It's not important. I mean, it shouldn't be janky, but It should be clean.
Yeah.
Keep it clean, keep it nice, but keep it tight, but don't sweat it. That's not going to get it done for you. What's going to get it done is you, the person behind the product, and you have got to be everywhere. Like I have to be everywhere. I have to be on a YouTube channel. I need to be on podcasts like this one. I need to have my own podcast. I need to write a book. I need to be posting on social media, not to go viral, but just so that people get
Create a
exposed to me
presence.
and they go,
Yeah.
"Oh, this guy," and it builds authority and credibility and trust, and then hopefully likability, and then that is what ultimately is going to accomplish, you getting all that inbound opportunity. That's the answer. It's hard. I am trying to do it. I know what to do, but I don't have time to do it. And so learning to say no to so many things is really is what I've got to do. And to free up my time to build my brand. Man, to be what is Daniel Priestley calls a key person of influence. But that's
Yeah.
the guy to read his stuff. The other book or person I would encourage people to read is Dr. Ben Hardy. And what I love about his stuff, it's very innovative and very science. I love science-based stuff. Yeah, as you can tell. Um,
Yeah.
he's written a bunch of books with Dan Sullivan in the past, and but he's got a new business now. But his whole thing is about using your past and your future to determine your present. And so by creating impossible goals, like it's sort of like saying this. Let's say that your goal, most businesses kind of progress linearly. Oh, we're going to grow by 30% or 20% a year.
Yeah.
He's saying, look, what's your goal for 10 years? All right, why don't you let's say, oh, I want it to be 10 million or whatever. Why don't you just do that in 3 years? And
Yeah.
or even 3 months. So if or 1 year, make it crazy. Like and so your reaction should be, that's impossible. Perfect. Now you're in the right space. So then it's like, well, what if everyone took my family and said, we're going to kidnap your kids and not give them back until you reach this goal. So all of a
Yeah.
sudden your mind starts going, well, how can I do this? And so you think outside the box, and it's kind of like, first principle thinking and all that stuff, Elon Musk stuff, whether you like him or not. He has some good business strategies. And so that and then you realize it's like almost like it's who, not how, finding the right who's, because you can't do it alone, and it's finding the right who's. So I love that. And so you operate from your future, like, okay, I am a $10 million company. So what does a $10 million company do? Or
Do. Yeah.
I am the fittest man in the world for my age. I have got 7% body fat and all this stuff, and I'm in peak physical condition. So what does that person eat? Oh, well, not this bag of chips, okay? So I can operate from my future today to get to the future.
Yep. And then just kind of align yourself with that picture and then just go in that
And it
direction.
happens. It happens. All of a sudden, you're talking a bigger game. You're just and you're saying no, no, no to all this little shit it's not going to get you there. It's like, wait a
Yeah.
minute, you're here because of doing that. If you want to do this up here, you can't keep doing that. You got to do something
Yeah.
different.
It doesn't make sense. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
feel like,
I like that. I like that. I think that's cool.
yeah. And then I feel like, back in, obviously that was some time ago, but Albert Einstein said it, doing the same thing and expecting the different result is, definition of being stupid.
Same thing. Absolutely. Yep. Same
Yeah.
exact thing. It's a good example. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think this is cool. It takes it's scary, but it's fun. It's fun. I think and see, humans operate by goals anyway. I mean, you do
They
everything
do.
based on goal, so you might as well make the goal freaking crazy. Why not?
Okay. Yeah.
Why not?
But yeah, but I feel like, once you're going to change that mindset, once you're going to make that shift, everything kind of starts to open up and then not even things, people, everything just kind of starts coming to you. And
Right. It
then
does.
you kind of keep building, kind of life comes from you and not at you, which is a completely different
That's
perspective.
right. Yeah, you attract, kind of whatever vibe you have and whatever you're putting out there, you attract that. You attract the right
Yeah.
people. Plus you recognize the right people when you see them.
Yeah.
because your mind is there and you're like, oh, this person's perfect for this, and
Yeah.
um so yeah, it's the right mindset. So you see things that you wouldn't have seen otherwise, right?
Yeah.
Using
Yeah.
the
Got it.
old working from your past model. That's dumb, man. Oh, this is the way we've always done it. Every year we grow by 10%. Oh my God, please, seriously? You know what I mean? That's not fun. That's not exciting. So I just think what he teaches and his books, and he's got some new books out. I mean, I would devour those because they're very useful. And it's again, he's a he's got a PhD in organizational psychology. He's a practical guy. He doesn't believe in just a bunch of hooey, and I mean, nothing wrong with, I think that there are, you can use hypnosis, you can use, which is legitimate. I think you can spend time, using your imagination, to create things as well. And I think that that's valid as well. But, you got to create the right picture in the first place, right?
Yeah. And how important was that for you personally?
Well, I'm doing it now. I mean, it's
Okay.
important because, and I've already seen a transformation. I've been working with his stuff for a couple of years now when I have the time, and I'm a terrible student. I don't, read everything, consume everything, and think, and I'm not, diligent as I should be, to get the most out of it. But even with what little I'm getting, it's huge, for me, and and I think about it every day. So I'm already seeing transformation happen as a result of that. And I'm more excited now than I've ever been. I mean, again, we rebranded as Leverly a couple years ago because people didn't know when they saw the word lead. It used to be people say, "Oh, people don't read websites; they skim and scan them." And now it's like people don't skim and scan anymore; they just read the URL,
Okay.
the
Yeah.
domain name. So the domain name says "speak to leads," so they saw leads and they went, "Oh, they sell leads," because that's what
Yeah.
people associate with businesses that have the word lead. Obviously, they sell leads. So that was confusing, and so I rebranded as Leverly. Um, and it tells us the story more about how we're using leverage to, increase.
Produce results. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, well, I mean, what's the highest leverage that you have right now? Well, we're already spending money. We're already getting leads. What if we spoke to more of them? That's leverage.
Yep. Got it. I mean, I feel like, you kind of covered a variety of topics without me even having to ask the questions.
I know. I'm sorry. I'm like an infomercial, aren't I? I can't
No, no,
help.
no, but it's not. I'm not putting it from a bad side of things. It's, I'm very grateful for you doing that because it was amazing to kind of hear you navigate all those different things and then kind of connect them into one same thing because everything is connected at the end of the day. And then you kind of were able to kind of connect sales, science, manifestation, a lot of different things with experience and then kind of package into one simple thing that kind of continues to provide results and works, which is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like we're in a position now where we can just wrap it up and then I can
Okay.
just say it was a pleasure to talk to you, sir, and have you doing this today with us. And then hopefully we can kind of stay connected for the future and see how these new things kind of develop. And then we can maybe touch a little bit on that in the future.
Yeah, that sounds great. Love to.
Amazing. As I've said, a pleasure to have you.
All right. Thanks for having me.